Welcome to In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin. Today, my guest is Richard deVries, who is Managing Director of Geber Brand Consulting. So let's meet Richard. Hi, Richard.
Hi, good morning, Shirley. Thank you for having me here.
Yes,
Very excited to talk to you.
All right, so am I. All right. Now, so you're originally from Canada,
Yes,
right? All right. And you've been here in Taiwan for 15 years.
that's correct.
All right. Well, before we go on to learn about you and your life, I believe you have a story to tell that has made an impact on you. You want
Okay.
to start telling that story?
Sure, thanks, Shirley. So, yes, as you mentioned, I'm from Canada, and my story, I suppose, is how I decided to come to Taiwan. Now, before I get into perhaps my background a little bit more, before I came to Taiwan in 2000, I lived in Vancouver. And I worked in chemical sales, B2B sort of business, marketing. And while it was fun, I saw so many people and so many great things coming from Asia, especially Taiwan.
Oh,
Yeah. So, a lot of our competitors, a lot of our customers were from here, and it's just a very happening place at that time, especially.
so how old were you when you first heard about Taiwan, this name?
Well, I'm a political science major, originally from University of Waterloo. So originally, I heard about it in a political sort of context. Yeah.
Really? Okay. All right, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go on with
But-
the story.
By 2000, I was already in Vancouver, and I was 26 or 27 years old. And just like a lot of people in North America, after university, we work for a few years, and then we decide, while this is interesting, there must be other things out there. You maybe want to travel, see different places. And for me, because also of my history of knowing about Taiwan and the history a little bit, I decided, okay, Asia might be the way to go. So what I did is, this was at the beginning of the internet bubble, just before it broke. So this was like the Wild West time of the internet. And there was a lot of new websites. There was one that was called skyauction.com. Now, I'm not sure if they're even open anymore because, all those things.
A long time ago.
A long time ago. But I went online, and they had tickets that you could bid for. Now, this one was for a trip, a one-way ticket to Asia. Mm-hmm. So for interest, I just put a bid on there for a few $100s, and I was watching it. And at that time, I wasn't really planning to leave Canada, but I just did it for interest. So after 24 hours, I kept looking, and I was at the top, and I'm still at the top. In a few hours to go, I'm still at the top of the list for my bid. And I'm like, oh my God, I might get this ticket. So eventually, wow, bam, I got it. And then you could choose which country. So it was a one-way ticket to East Asia. And because of what I heard, I picked Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that was meant as a one-way ticket. I came over here, and I was planning originally just to stay for 1 year. But actually, like so many foreigners in Taiwan, ended up really liking it, and then said, okay, 1 more year. And then 1 more year, and then 1 more year, and now it's 15 years.
Wow. Okay. So what's the motto of the story? What did you
Well-
learn about the bidding part? No.
Well, that's
That
one
was
thing. The
by
motto
luck,
is,
right?
I guess, be careful what you bid for, because it might change your life, right? You might end up going somewhere and staying there forever.
Yeah,
Or-
it could either change your life for the better or for the worse. But in this case, it was for the better, right?
It was for the better, because now now I'm married, have 2 kids. My wife is Taiwanese, and been in Taiwan since.
There's something about foreigners, come to Taiwan. I mean, originally they said they were just going to visit, and then they end up falling in love with Taiwan, and then they stay on. And like you, from 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to now 15 years. What is this? I mean, I don't know. In some ways, I want to say I'm envious, because I think that's how the Western culture is. You guys are so open-minded. You guys can just, pack a suitcase and just pack up and go, and just go. And then you just go from one adventure to the next, one place to the next. And that's just so not Chinese, ethnic Chinese kind of way of thinking. I don't know.
Well,
do you agree?
Somewhat I agree. However, even chatting with you before we started filming, how your history, you spent a lot of time overseas as well, right?
Well, I'm an exception, I think.
Well, not all Canadians or not all Westerners are this kind of travel oriented as well. So, but we do like to travel after university, and I do see a lot of younger Taiwanese people also doing the same kind of thing these days as well.
These days, yeah, I think I agree. Yeah, that's changing, so for the better also. Right. Yeah, that's good. Did you grow up in a big family? Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
What kind of family background you're from?
Right. Well, yeah, I have 3 younger sisters.
You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest. I'm the only boy, and I'm the oldest. I'm the gugu in the family. Mei, right? And my father actually immigrated from Holland, Netherlands, before I was born, and my mom is from Canada. Now, I grew up in a small town in northern Ontario. So in the winter, it can be minus 30 degrees Celsius. And in the summer, it could be plus 30, plus 35. So there's a huge range.
Yeah, I can imagine that kind of cold weather down in the minus degrees.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of variety there in the seasons. And it's a great place to grow up. But once you're a little bit older, 18 or so, it is kind of our custom that everybody leaves home when they're 18 to go to school.
Yes, I've heard about this. It's, the way my friend put it, it was like, you turn 18 and then your parents go, okay, you want to go to college? You want to get married? You can find a job? Okay, you're on your own. Bye.
Right. Yeah, it's like the bird kicking their baby chicks out. And, my father would say, okay, when you're 18, you have to go. And it was only kind of half joking. That was very different because now I have a young daughter, and for me, I'm saying, oh, she can stay at our house till she's 30. That's fine. So maybe I'm becoming a little Taiwanese.
Oh, okay. So I guess your wife would rather wait until the kids are older before, delay the time when they go.
Well, definitely, I do see that there's a lot of positive aspects to this type of culture as well. The different generations living together, it's really good. But so when I was 18, then I moved down to southern Ontario, which in Canada is quite far away, about 5 or 6 hours driving, and went to school, University of Waterloo. And actually, originally, I studied civil engineering, but I just found that engineering wasn't my thing. I liked dealing with sort of people or kind of the social sciences. I enjoyed that much more. So after my first year, I switched over into political science and economics.
Okay. Why did you take up civil engineering? Was it a suggestion from your dad or what?
Well, kind of. In high school and elementary school, I guess I was pretty good at math and sciences. And just like in Taiwan, your parents will guide you towards engineering and these kind of areas if you're not bad at it. So, and also I thought I was going to enjoy that myself, but that's another thing.
Was that your dad's major, civil engineering?
No. It was just what I thought I was interested in.
Oh, I'm finding more similarities between Chinese parents and or Taiwanese parents and Western parents now.
Right.
That actually Western parents can give pressure or expectations on their kids just as much as Taiwanese parents apparently. And I kept thinking that it's only one-sided, that it's only the Asian parents that have very, very high expectations of their children, because that's how my dad was, for me. So then you realized your interest was actually in political science and economics.
Right.
Why?
Yeah. Well, it just I became more interested in things such as philosophy, psychology, sort of what makes society or what makes things work, but not how things work, but how the world works. And for me, I found that economics and psychology and political science, these things were more towards that area.
Oh, Well, I'm embarrassed to say that I actually majored in economics too. It was double major math and economics, but
Right.
yeah, that's as far as I'm going to say.
Yeah. So, anyways, after that, and then my three younger sisters,
They also picked up and left
They
when
also
they turned
left as
18.
well.
So it doesn't matter whether you're a boy or girl. You know, at 18, you're supposed to leave home and you're on your own.
Right.
You made your way through college too? You earned the money to pay for college?
Yeah. So actually, that's quite common there as well in Canada, is that people will have part-time jobs as they're working. So I worked in a lot of different industries while I was in university. Worked at stores, you know, kind of like B&Q, those kind of stores.
You didn't wait on tables?
No.
You didn't
no,
do that.
no.
Okay.
I worked as a roofer, like doing roofing, up on the...
Mending roofs?
Yes. Yeah, it's a very difficult job. Very physical.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And also as a mover, you know, helping
Yes.
people move their houses. All these kind of more manual style jobs. And, you know, on one way, it's actually good because it makes you appreciate getting an education more, you know, so you
Yes.
can get a cushier job.
I agree. But you chose all these like manual work, like you said. You figure that it's like, anyway, a free way of building up your muscles. It's sort of like a workout for you.
Well, it was kind of a workout.
Bodybuilding.
But yeah, and also those kind of jobs, some of them would pay
better.
Pay better.
Ah.
You know, they don't require you to stay a long time. So because I was studying at the same time. So, you know, and
Okay.
due to a lack of choice in some ways, yeah.
But wait, this was all while still in, oh wait a minute, in Canada.
Right, in
Okay.
Waterloo.
Right. Okay, Waterloo.
Yeah, and then after that, after I graduated, I actually started working at a chemical company, doing, it was kind of a business to business, sales and marketing. Right. So if you study political science or economics, it's actually rare to go into those kind of fields. I was more interested on the business side of things and started doing that in Toronto before I picked up and I went out to Vancouver.
Okay. So I'm curious, what did your sisters end up doing?
Yeah, that's interesting because I guess we do have in our family maybe a gene or something that makes us want to move. Because my father moved all the way from Holland. Most of his brothers also moved from there to North America as well a long time ago. And then my three younger sisters all live in America.
Oh, now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they all live at different parts of America. So we're all pretty much, the closest one to my parents is a few thousand kilometers. So we're all very far. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you live in America too?
No, I didn't.
No, okay. No. So, all right. So after Canada, you came straight to Taiwan.
Right. So when I went out to Vancouver, I lived there for a few years, and that's when I bought the ticket. You know, I decided to pick up, and one day I just called my parents, and they asked, "Oh, what's new?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to move to Taiwan," and they were just like, "What?"
Have they, at the time, have they heard of Taiwan?
They did, but most people didn't.
Confuse Taiwan with Thailand.
A lot of my aunts and uncles did, yeah.
Okay. I know. We're a very, very small island in this huge, huge world, right? Yeah.
Well, Taiwan was, I mean, for my parents' generation, actually Taiwan was fairly well known for that age.
Oh, okay. Well,
because
good.
The different political situations and
really?
way back when. So Taiwan was...
so it was not because made in Taiwan.
That was another thing.
There's so many things made in Taiwan, so that's how people got to know Taiwan, but not so much in your case. So
yeah.
That was part of it, right? Well, that's so interesting. So, it's still hard to imagine you just picking up and then moving like thousands of miles to the other side of the world, literally, to Taiwan. When, how do you... I'm sure there's a lot of excitement, but then there's a lot of unknown and uncertainty. I mean, what is it that keeps you guys going? I mean, obviously, when you said that you're going to pick up and go to Taiwan, your parents were supportive, right? And what else did they tell you? Did they give you any warnings or any
Well,
advice or?
they gave me advice. I'm sure. I kind of, they were surprisingly okay with it all. I guess because of my father's history of moving, and in Canada it's quite normal to move around, and they took it all very well. They said okay, and probably part of it was just that they thought I was only going for a year. So.
That's right. And you had saved up enough money to come to Taiwan and just stay for that 1 year?
Yes, yeah, I saved up enough, and through my various jobs there and the job before I came here, I saved up enough to get that. However, I didn't have any actual plan, even where to stay.
That was my next question. What was your plan for that 1 year? You didn't really have any plan. You're just going to come and see for yourself and then decide.
Right.
That's really, really crazy. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess being at that age, you can live anywhere. You don't need to have all these big plans. If you get there, you can find a place to stay, and you're not so picky when you're 26, 27. So I just had a big backpack, and I had that one-way flight to Taiwan, and I got to Taoyuan Airport, and I got in there, and I had an idea. There was a hostel in Taipei that I wanted to go to. And so I had the address, and I got here. I thought that you could just change money at the airport quickly, but it was closed. The money changer was closed. So I was just walking around, and it was really nice. Some Taiwanese person saw that I was kind of looking a little bit lost, and he said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And he gave me the money for the airport bus to come to Taipei. I'm like, "Oh, no, it's okay." But he's like, "There's no other way." So this stranger, the first thing is he gives me, I think it was 150 NT to take the bus, and then I have the map where I have to go, and I didn't have a reservation or anything.
This is just amazing, because you know that I would never encounter something like this, where someone, just gives me money and, hey, go ahead, don't worry about it. You don't have to think about paying me back.
Right.
But it seems like this kind of thing happens to foreigners all the time who come here to Taipei or Taiwan. But anyway, we're going to take a break here before we go on and learn more about your adventures in Taiwan and how you decided to stay on, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
let's take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to In Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin. My guest is Richard deVries, who is Managing Director of Geber Brand Consulting. And we were just talking about how, Richard, you bid for a ticket to come to Asia. It was a one-way ticket, and you won. You successfully bid the ticket, and then so you got here to Taiwan. Originally, you were just going to stay for 1 year. But you kept adding on, and it's now been 15 years. So what is it about Taiwan? Well, anyway, no, I want to know what exactly you did the first year that you came to Taiwan, because you came without a plan.
That's right. I came without a plan. I wanted to find just a little bit of work to do before I moved on. Maybe I was planning to go to Japan, or maybe go to China or other places in Asia.
You were already thinking about going somewhere else.
Well, my original plan was
just keep traveling.
Just keep traveling, see Taiwan and then keep going. So
did you know Chinese then? Speak any Chinese?
No, I didn't.
And you were thinking about finding a job.
Right. It was kind of not so much planning before I came here. So I did do a little bit of traveling to other countries in the region at the beginning.
You mean around Taiwan?
Around Taiwan.
Right.
I did a lot of traveling within Taiwan as well. Mm-hmm. I traveled out of Taiwan, and in Taiwan, I ended up starting to explore other parts of Taiwan as well. I really like bicycling a lot. So my friends and I, we cycled around Taiwan, all kinds of different places, up Hoanshan.
Hoanshan, you climbed up there?
No, bicycled.
Bicycled up there.
Yeah, so 1 week, it was a really nice, very beautiful week in December. And my friend said, hey, how about we go biking up Hoanshan? And I was like, okay, sure. So
Without realizing how tedious a hike it is, right?
right, how far it is. And also we didn't know so much about the temperatures up there. So we went to Puli, Puli in
Yes.
around Nantou, and we started biking up, and it started getting colder and colder because this was December, and I just had short sleeves, and I didn't have the right kind of clothing. And we got up and it started snowing on the way up. And my friend got altitude sickness, and I just looked so, as we were riding, we just looked so pathetic and so sorrowful that some Taiwanese people would take pity on us, and some of them would throw some gloves and these kind of things out to us.
You're the second person I heard how someone just offered, this person gloves because, well, he was on a motorbike and it was really, really cold, and it was stopped at a red light, and he was rubbing his hands. So the next, motorist, he just took off his glove and threw it at the foreigner, and he just kept on biking away.
Yeah. No, I mean, this has happened, well, it happened that time. People, like I said, I was riding and they threw gloves out at me. And it kind of surprised me because, like in the West, sometimes if people are throwing stuff on you at your bike, it might be a beer bottle or something, or ice cubes. Yeah.
Well, I guess they did that without saying anything because they don't know what to say. They don't know any English, probably.
At that time, this was when I first got here, so it was very unusual to see people riding their bicycles. We often ride up to Wulai or out to Fulong on the East Coast. We often ride out there. And at that time, it was so unusual that people would be stopping or slowing down and rolling down their window and saying, "Jayo, jayo." And
means add oil, like, go,
Right.
go, go, yeah.
yeah, so they thought, today, as you know, Taiwan has become a very bicycle friendly
Yes, we
place.
are.
And there's so many Taiwanese people out there every weekend riding. So they don't yell "Jayo" as much. But no, so that was very, going up there and exploring Taiwan. We also did bike trips around the south of Taiwan to Kenting and up to get around again to Taidong.
Wait a minute, you're still talking about the first year you were here.
These in the first couple years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And eventually, as I liked it, because like I say, around Taipei, you can do a lot of things outside. People don't really know that from the West. People think it's like other huge cities, but you can get out into the nature so easily.
Yeah, that is right. Within an hour's drive, you're already out in nature, in the suburbs,
Even
in
less.
the countryside.
Yeah,
even less.
Yeah.
Even less in the mountains.
Right.
There's Yangming Mountain, and then, yeah.
Right. There's
it is.
Maokong in the south. There's Wulai, which is close to
Hot
here.
springs.
Hot springs.
Right.
So, there's all these different things to do here that I decided, okay, I want to stay longer. However, I need to kind of build up some skills to stay in Taiwan as well, like to start my business and so on. So I started studying Chinese, and then also I took an MBA at Jenda or NCCU.
Okay. Yes, the National ChengChi University.
Right, yeah, in Mucha. So for that, it was a really good experience as well. It's a really good program, and met a lot of great people that I still keep in contact, and I work with them all the time. But this allowed me to build up the skills so that I could, stay in Taiwan longer and build up a business in this area. Yeah.
So why did you think about starting a company in brand consulting? And what is brand consulting?
Okay, so yeah, good question. A lot of people don't know. When you hear consulting, it could be for so many different things, right?
Yeah.
Right. But we do brand and marketing consulting. So in a nutshell, we help Taiwanese companies, mostly Taiwan companies, but also some Western companies coming into Taiwan. But we help a lot of Taiwanese companies expand their market overseas. So as many of your viewers might know, or listeners, Taiwanese are famous for manufacturing great products.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, some very big brands, Giant, Asus, Acer, In the B2B or business to business area, you have TSMC, you have Foxconn or Honghai. These are very good, famous media tech. Great companies, but a lot of Taiwanese companies might not have the marketing or the branding mindset. So that's branding is coming up with a strategy in the marketing in order to promote or build a brand, build an identity for a company. So Taiwanese companies, we go to help them to do this, come up with a strategy, the marketing plan, promotions. We do corporate film for our clients.
Oh, okay.
So my reason for that is because, like I said, I was in the chemical business in Canada before I came here. And I saw from my meetings with different companies here that they miss this aspect of the marketing and branding especially. So I thought, okay, there's a good opportunity here to work with these great companies and build this up with them.
Yeah, I mean, you learned about this while talking to Taiwanese bosses, company directors.
Right.
That
yeah.
they know that that's what's lacking here in Taiwan.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them know that this is lacking, and this is the missing ingredient for some companies in order to get to the next step. You know, if you look around the world, companies, let's say in Germany, they're quite good because they combine the great manufacturing and they also have good branding. And in America, they're very good at the marketing. You know, Americans, are very happy to say, "Oh, we're the best at this," or "We're the best at that." But maybe their products are not always the best, but they're just great at promoting it.
Right, exaggerating.
It could be.
Okay.
Whereas for Taiwan, they have the great products, but maybe people don't know about it. Right?
Okay, right. So let's take, for example, can you do branding for a radio station?
Sure.
Yeah? What would you do for RTI? I mean, you know our background, right? We're a national radio station, shortwave radio station, and we broadcast in 13 languages to the world. So we introduce Taiwan to the rest of the world. So how do you think we can do more in the sense of branding?
Okay. Well, I would say for our process for that, we would first of all look, what we call is the brand position, 品牌定位.
Where we are right now?
Where you are now, and where is a good positioning? Where's one that is good for the future, that will fit with maybe your target listeners? What kind of listeners, or what's your demographic that you are looking to attract? And then having a strategy or the steps. Okay, how can you appeal to those kind of people the best?
Yeah.
I know for this kind of station, you have a very diverse group of listeners or watchers, right?
Well, we wish.
Yeah.
Because, we've actually closed off some transmissions to certain parts of the world. So, yeah, it's not, yeah. Right.
Well, without getting into it too deeply, because I have to look more about RTI and so on. But, one issue is if you have too many targets, this can sometimes diminish or make your brand less powerful.
Oh.
So some of the most powerful brands have fewer products or fewer services, but really focused on a certain area or a certain group of people.
Okay.
So I would say for RTIs to really find out who are your best listeners and really find out the types of programs.
Yeah.
Hopefully they really like this kind of program.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people say that they got to know Taiwan through our programs, right? And then, shortwave listening is more, though I might be wrong, correct me if I'm, I don't know. It's just that it's more a hobby now. And then it's definitely an advantage to those countries who, don't have that much easy access to the internet, or even the availability of computers. Right. Then they would be the ones who still, stick to short radio listening to connect with the world. So obviously those listeners, they say, please don't shut off the shortwave radio, transmission, because ideally a lot of some of these shortwave radios have closed down and switched to internet, digital.
Right. So this is, I know that this is a concern for a lot of radio stations. They have the hardcore listeners who have a different reason for wanting to listen. They want to use their shortwave, and then other ones think, okay, through the internet. But then you have to invest in both, which diminishes sometimes your capability.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you say that about the shortwave, because I did listen to it was Radio Taiwan, I guess that's RTI, Radio Taiwan, when I was probably 12 years old or so, because my father and I, yes, my father and I, we used to put together like radio kits. And there's a famous brand in America, in Canada, called a Heath Kit.
Okay.
And he put together this radio, and it was a shortwave radio. And then I got a book, and I remember listening to some Radio Taiwan programs, and this would have been in the early 80s or so.
Wow. We've got a faithful RTI listener right here.
Right.
Wow.
And, it was very interesting at night, like in Northern Ontario, because we only had a few channels on TV, and you could tune in radio stations from all around the world. So in our backyard, in Canada, of course, we have, in your house, you have usually a large backyard. So my father and I would put out this long antenna, probably about 20 meters long. And
that's really long.
That's a long one.
Yeah.
And then we, had a book, and we could tune in to different stations at that time. Yeah.
Oh.
I think that was the golden age probably for shortwave radio.
Oh, could
before
be.
the internet.
Well, it was before my time. I've been here 11 years, but that was before before that. So do you recall what kind of programs you were listening to in English? The English programs, or?
Yes, only English at that time. I didn't know
Oh, okay.
Chinese.
So do you recall any?
No, but that was the first time I heard of
Taiwan.
Taiwan. Well, and also I believe, I know it's kind of a political thing, but they referred to it as Radio Free.
Voice of Free China.
Voice of Free China.
Oh my goodness, that's what we were
Right.
called then. Yes,
And
when you were listening.
I remember being confused by that because maybe I was 11 or 12. So I asked my mom. We had this very big atlas from National Geographic, and I'm like, "Wow, there's two Chinas, and there's all these kind of things." And I thought it was very interesting, the situation, and then being able to listen to something from around the world,
Right.
was really cool.
Well, now that you're here in Taiwan, I guess you figured out all the confusion you had before, right?
I think I have just as much confusion, maybe.
Okay. Well, we're not going to talk about that right now.
Right.
But all right. Well, this is really fascinating. I wish there was more of when I say a place you want to take your family.
Maybe Pingling.
Pingling?
Yes.
Have you ever... Wait. Oh, sorry. Pingling. Oh, what's over there?
Pingling, they have...
You introduced Taiwan to everybody here.
Right. Pingling is just a really nice place to go, and you can do some camping. We like to go camping sometimes, especially in the spring or the fall when the temperature is a little lower. That's another great thing about Taiwan is there's really good camping. A lot of Westerners like to go camping in the summer.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah. Is that... Gosh, I don't know my direction. Is that north, south, or of Taipei? Pingling is south?
Pingling is kind of south.
South, right?
Yeah.
And so
it's on the way to Yilan.
Okay. Oh, it's on the way to Yilan. Well, Yilan is pretty close to and pretty easy to get to.
Right.
Yeah, so it's on the way. Yeah, I think, I'm not really into camping myself, but I think the facilities has gotten better and better. Like, it makes it very comfortable. They've got the water faucets, they've got the sinks that if you want to do barbecue, and they've got, you can rent tents if you don't have your own. And yeah, I'm just there, recently actually. So yes, we've got great camping places. Yeah. All right. So that really shows, the trend that Taiwanese people are going is biking and camping and loving nature, just like you. So no wonder this place attracts you. All right, well, great. Thank you so much, Richard. And good luck with your business, Geber Brand Consulting, because it seems like a lot of Taiwanese businesses need you in that area. So RTI probably too.
Yeah, maybe we can talk later.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, thank you, Richard.
Okay, thank you, Shirley. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin.